Yo, Sleepy Sheepy here. Today we're going to be looking at a challenge run that nearly broke me. So for some additional context, I've been doing these BRM Bounty Board challenges since their inception. There's some more details in the link below for what this means, but essentially every 2 weeks new Elden Ring challenges have been coming out, and I've been able to complete all of them so far. As a reward for my dedication, me and a few other players got the opportunity to create some of these challenges ourselves for the community to complete, and for each other to complete. So given my level of involvement, I felt it was necessary to complete all these challenges. That is until I saw the Set and Spike challenge. So I spent over a week trying to complete this challenge. This particular challenge is so difficult because it requires a ton of luck, some degree of coordination, and there are just very few opportunities to actually pull it off. So before we jump into that specific challenge, I hope you'll enjoy some of these appetizer challenges to start. I also have a special bonus invasion at the end of the video involving one of the most broken setups I've ever seen in the game, so I hope you'll stick around to the end. Anyways, if you wouldn't mind considering subscribing, I'd definitely appreciate it, but yeah, let's go ahead and jump in. Alright, so for this first challenge that I'm affectionately calling the Kevin Special, we're going to be trying to get 3 gravity kills in a single invasion. And we want to make sure that we get the host last and 2 phantoms or blue first. So to pull this off, I'm going to be running the Radon Greatswords, and there's a little bit of tech that goes with this where the gravity pull goes in the direction that your back is facing. So it's not always going to pull towards your body, which is kind of the intuitive approach of how you'd think the gravity would work. Instead, it kind of only goes in a single direction, and that's going to be the opposite way that you're facing, which can be used to some kind of entertaining effect. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to complete the challenge in this first invasion, but we will get a lovely demonstration of how it works, where we're facing the wrong direction, we're totally unlocked, and that pulls these 2 players directly off the cliff. So that's going to be kind of the idea, but real quick we'll demonstrate this challenge completed as a speed run, and that's going to be using the Great Bow before we get back to the Radon Greatsword. So very quickly we're able to just get 1 shot off, complete that first phantom kill, and then we take a second shot and we get a 2-for-1 with that second shot. So just 2 great arrows and we completed the challenge, but we think we can do it in kind of a more fun way. So this one was happening during the live stream, which made it a little bit more exciting, and the fact that we kind of came into this world with the anticipation like, oh, this might be it, this looks very promising. We've got 3 players, we've got a ton of different opportunities for gravity kills, and here we do get that first one facing the wrong direction. We get that phantom to slide off the edge. So we've got 1 player down right there, but the host and the other phantom are progressing rather quickly, and we definitely don't want to get fog walled. That could ruin everything. So we're going to try to quickly catch up here, and we do hop down to this ledge, and this area is okay. There are some opportunities to get players to slide off, but really we want to save our gravity attacks for really opportune moments. We don't want to rush in and kind of show our hand too early. So the psychology with some of these challenges can be really interesting and make it a little bit more fun. We hope that they'll aggress out towards the bridge, but they're not really taking the bait. We were wondering if there's an opportunity to pull them off a little bit further back, so I wasn't sure if there was a railing here. Unfortunately, there is a railing, but this does encourage them to progress a little bit further in the level. Obviously, we're kind of walking a thin line here where we want them to progress, but not too far because the fog wall is pretty close. So fortunately, some PvE gets in the way. The phantom up front is, getting hit by a couple projectiles, and that's slowing them down, allowing me to catch up to them. And here I'm able to get in front of them, body block them for just a little bit, and then successfully get them to slide off the bridge. Now it's just me and the host, and as they're approaching the fog wall, they do actually go for a heal, and that slows them down additionally as well. So we get all 3 of those gravity kills before the host is able to fog wall us. Now next up we have the pierogi step, and if you know anything about pierogies, these come in different flavors. So we're going to be going for a couple different pierogi steps here. Now the pierogi step is a ravioli step followed up by a parry. I'm not sure if it's within the rules to kind of change your direction, so I went for both attempts where I did not change the direction I was facing. It was essentially parrying kind of backwards to my initial direction, and that made things a little bit interesting. But we had the silly soft swap, we also have the kind of nervous movement. Next up we have the nihilist's hard swap, which I really enjoy. I think it reflects kind of a lot about what people feel when they play Elden Ring. So we're in a good spot there to successfully get that one. And then for the last flavor, we'll have the First Try Fridays, just a brief demonstration of what type of setup is required to actually pull this off. Some of these made it look like it happened rather quickly, but these were all at the end of long invasions where I could go for, a bunch of attempts in a row. And just getting the timing is super weird because you have to cue your ravioli step pretty much before they go for their attack, and you also have to not get stunned out with their attack. So here we do get one where we actually turn around and face our opponent, kind of the other option, and we do go for some weapon swaps within these, which I found to be pretty fun. Now this is the set and spike. This one was absolutely brutal, and the reason it was so difficult is because you're trying to get a golden parry on an enemy while they're attacking somebody else, and somebody else needs to grab the riposte. So you're just kind of setting it up with a golden parry while they're attacking somebody else. And this could be with PvE or other players, but I found it was extremely difficult to get with PvE. They would just not cooperate, and so if you have a human on the other side that at least knows what a parry looks like and knows what they're supposed to do, I figured it might be a little bit easier. But first off, we tried with some PvE. So that first attempt, obviously the host just got smashed immediately. This next time, it seemed like it was set up well. It looked like this ancestral kind of minotaur would go for an R1 and potentially grab the riposte, but it's hard to even know what PvE is capable of grabbing riposte. So that made this extremely difficult. And then the other version involving another player requires you to get a co-invader, and that's just so difficult in this game. Just the way that it's set up with only 4 players in the world, somebody needs to have Taunter's Tongue on, it's super unreliable. So eventually I did end up with a co-invader. This was great, however this player was not using a weapon that could grab a riposte. So I was just going to start throwing out parries and hope that they would kind of wise up to it, and hope that this player would at least throw out some kind of parryable attack. So they're running a thrusting sword, which is already kind of difficult to parry. It's very fast, so you really do need to be parrying on prediction. And we also have, the host not really aggressing the phantom or the co-invader, which is what we're looking for. So here we do get a parry, but the attack was on me, so it wouldn't have even counted. There's no reason to get that riposte on my end. So here we get another one when they're actually attacking the phantom or the co-invader, but again, just no even desire to go for that riposte, which is totally brutal. They do eventually switch over from the bow, but again they pick a weapon that's not parryable, or can't grab the riposte and is also not parryable. So that's really unfortunate. I think they saw the parry shield in the host's hand and just kind of were reacting to that, but kind of in that effort they were not interested in grabbing the riposte. Unfortunately, they pull out cross naginatas, which is a great way to end an invasion super quickly. However, it is something that could potentially grab a riposte. We go for a couple more just hail parries, and the cross naginatas just put in work so fast, and we're not able to get a parry while this player is using a riposte option. So we switch back to PvE for a little while. We go for a number of parries here, and these look like PvE that would actually be able to grab a riposte, but unfortunately no, they are not interested in it. And then we also see some latency there where we parry their attack, but it still does damage. This is where I kind of gave up. So we get like 3 parries in a row on this group, all within PvE. It looks like it should be able to grab a parry, and it's just singularly uninterested in grabbing these parries. So again, absolutely brutal. The PvE just has no interest in helping us complete this challenge, and at this point we're like, you know what, we're just gonna hope for co-invaders because the PvE is just not cutting it. So eventually we do get a co-invader, and we're going to look at this invasion in full because there were just some extremely clutch moments in it. So we've got a player running power stance katanas, which is really nice. The L1 for that is quite parryable. Even if you don't hit the first one, you can oftentimes hit the second swing, so that's going to be fantastic. The crouching attacks are somewhat predictable, so those come out quite quickly, which makes it a little bit more difficult, but still it feels much more possible than some of the options we've had before. So this host is going for some crouching attacks early on. We're trying to keep an eye on our damage, but really we don't want to aggress too much. We want them to be feeling comfortable enough to attack the co-invader, but not, overwhelmed, and we also want them to be using, parryable attacks. So obviously that Ash War, not super helpful. We don't want to throw out too many parries. If we're just spamming parry, they might not attack or they might switch their weapons. Here they start aggressing me. I do go for a parry there, but no such luck. It's hard to know. Like, this felt like an opportunity where I might get the parry, so it's kind of throwing them out a little randomly, but you know, just so few opportunities were like arriving for this, so whenever there was an opportunity, I really went for it. So here we do get the parry, and the co-invader does actually go to grab the riposte, but they're just a little bit too slow. So I knew that this invasion had it potential, like way more potential than maybe the dozens or of other ones that I had tried previously and all the other ones with PvE. So this felt like, you know, maybe this challenge is actually doable. And here we see the co-invader switching to a lot of projectiles, which obviously we don't like to see. We want them to be using weapons that can grab the riposte, and a staff just won't cut it. But everybody is kind of like rebuffing, and we feel like we have a little bit more time here. Now, the host is going for some attacks. They're definitely playing a little bit more passively, switching off between both of us, so you know, kind of choosing their opponent. Here we get a partial parry that really looked like such a good setup. Unfortunately, it didn't fully connect, and we kind of had to take our time, but here the host is getting kind of low health and playing kind of aggressively here, so they're very close to dead. They fortunately do heal, but we can see kind of a lot of damage coming out from the side of the co-invader. So here they go for another jumping attack. I throw out a parry, just really hoping, and the host almost dies here, and in this moment I go for a body block, really taking the bullet for the host so the fan daggers don't connect. And some people might say, like, wow, are you actually just a presidential bodyguard for your day job? And to that I would say perhaps. But yeah, we definitely avoid letting the host die and just try to get set up for one final attempt here. And here we actually get the parry, and oh my god, the co-invader actually grabs the riposte. So yeah, I was absolutely floored in this moment. I've been trying for so long, and this challenge was just so difficult because it's so hard to get co-invaders in this game, and having them actually coordinate with you is very, very difficult. So moving on to some of our other challenges. This one's a little bit more fun, I think, just in terms of silliness, and this is a 9-ton hammer challenge. So you have to use the hammer as your weapon. You have to be fully overloaded, which means you can't jump and you can't roll, and you're going to move very, very slowly. So to kind of complement that, I'll use Iron Jar Aromatic, which will just reduce the amount of damage I take for every damage type other than lightning. So here we're able to actually get the challenge completed super quick. So this was like my second or third try. I was very surprised to see that happen. But we also wanted to try some other variations, potentially where we would take care of a Phantom and maybe just, you know, have some other players in the world. It just felt a little bit too easy. So here we're overloaded. We've got some Bull Goat on just because that's the ideal fashion for running an overloaded challenge, and we do put on Iron Jar Aromatic. So we also had some Lightning Ram in the mix, and Lightning Ram just kind of negates the slowness and your inability to roll that comes with being fully overloaded, and we can just kind of heal in their face, drink our flasks, like it doesn't matter. And here we go for Lightning Ram again, but this host was actually pretty solid at dodging it. It is somewhat strafable. If you go around in a circle, the radius for the turn is pretty tight, so we do go for it one more time. We get knocked out of it by Impaling Thrust, and here we get, you know, a decent amount of damage, but the host is doing a good job of backing away. So here we're just going to go for just up close and personal DPS. Our Iron Jar Aromatic does run out, so we do need to actually reapply it, but the Freezing Mist does give us some pretty good cover for that. And here we can just see how great the hammer is on a strength build. Like 3 or 4 hits connect and you're golden. So I had a lot of fun with that one. It was a little bit more on the silly side, and we can move on to our next one. This is Sparta. So this is a challenge that I submitted. I ran a Sparta build a long time ago and had a very hard time actually kicking somebody off a ledge. So we'll use some more Iron Jar Aromatic to start things off, but then we have a very wholesome invasion that really just kind of tells a beautiful story. So I'm not going to do commentary over that one. I think I'll just let some music play and you can enjoy. And then at the very end, we'll have kind of the last very special bonus invasion. But here we can see Guts is just a little bit perturbed by our play style. They don't like Iron Jar Aromatic. They're not getting the stuns that they're hoping for. And I'm just kind of chopping away with some medium damage doing weapons. But here we go for some kicks. They kind of smartly roll away, but here they get a little aggressive. They go for Stomp Sweep, which is probably a good call if they're hoping to get me off the ledge, and here we just get 3 kicks to connect in a row and knock them off the ledge. So this next one, I just think will tell a beautiful story, and I'll let that tape roll here. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed that Patch's cosplay. I was really hoping they would pick up the Lord runes before they fell to their death, but unfortunately it didn't go that way. So moving on to our special bonus, we have a host that's running a very broken setup. So they have Iron Jar Aromatic, a flask that gives them infinite FP for a time. They'll also be converting non-physical damage into health, which is going to be very powerful because Iron Jar Aromatic's one weakness is lightning, but that's a non-physical damage type. So they really played it pretty smart, and I died to this player a number of times, but somebody in Blade of Maya's live chat saw this invasion happening on Maya's live stream and recommended Lifesteal Fist. So I thought I'd give it a try because this player was definitely bullying a lot of invaders, and so Lifesteal Fist definitely proved to be the way to go because it interrupts the unendurable frenzy even when they have Iron Jar Aromatic. So that was awesome. We also did want to switch over to our Power Stance Katana setup before the host was able to summon another Phantom, and that allowed us to deliver a lot of damage very quickly. We get a nice jumping attack and follow it up with Unsheath as a roll catch. So a very fun invasion and one that gave me a lot of trouble previously. So if you wouldn't mind considering subscribing, I'd appreciate it. I also do have a second channel that is PvE focused, so if you want to check that out, that's an option. And yeah, I hope you have a good day.